Hi friends! I'm so excited to do this project. We just watched a video all about the history of weaving and how important it's been throughout the history of the whole world. It started like thousands of years ago, and we even use it still today because we wouldn't have clothes or blankets or towels or sheets or any of fabric, things made out of fabric. We couldn't have those if there wasn't such thing as weaving, because those are made out of threads that are woven together. So back in the day, back in the olden days, when they didn't have machines to do the weaving for them, people had to weave by hand, and they had to make their own cloth to make clothing and different household items. So I'm excited to teach you guys weaving today. Also, it'll go really well with what you're learning about in the colonial America and how it was used in the colonies as well. It could make a really great colonial project for you to do this year. Anyway, to do weaving, there's several things that we're going to need. And first of all, we're going to need a loom. And luckily, I was able to get these really awesome cardboard looms. So we're going to use these. You can't keep these, you can't take them home, but once we're done with the weaving and you take your weaving off of the loom, you can return the loom to the classroom, and we'll keep it here in our classroom so other people can use it. So we want to take really good care of these cardboard looms because we're going to be using them for lots of years to come. If we take really good care of them and don't bend them or bend the edges or anything of them, we can use them for lots of years. So we're going to need this, a loom. So that's one thing that all weaving needs. It always needs a loom. Along with the loom, we're going to need yarn, of course, because we're going to weave with yarn today. And I got lots and lots and lots of beautiful colors of yarn for you to choose from. I'll have that pre-cut. I'll have some pre-cut pieces that you guys can use, so you don't have to worry about cutting it yourself. And to make your loom, you're going to need one really long piece of yarn, because that's going to be the yarn that goes vertically up and down on your loom. And the yarn that goes up and down is called the warp. It's the warp threads that go from the top to the bottom of your loom. So what are they called, friends? Correct, the warp threads. And then we're going to need pieces of yarn to weave in and out that will go horizontally or from left to right. And those threads are called the weft threads. W-E-F-T, weft. What are they called, friends? Right. Okay, let's get our yarn and let's get to it. Get your loom. You stick the yarn through one of these little notches right here. Be really careful not to bend any of these, because if we bend them, they won't last very long. So we got to try to keep this cardboard nice and stiff. So you stick your yarn through there. Get a piece of masking tape or any kind of tape you have. And you're going just to tape that little piece down so it doesn't fall out. And then you're going to go straight across your board to the next notch over here. Okay, now this is what we don't want to do. We don't want to go back around the board like this, because if you keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping your board, it's going to take a ton more yarn, twice as much yarn. So we don't need both sides to have yarn on them. We only need this side to have the lines of yarn, the vertical lines. So what you're going to do is go to the next notch, like right here. Just go over to your neighbor, like your neighbor's little notch right there, and go through. Then go across to this notch. Go to the neighbor. Hello. Go through. Instead of going around the back, you just go right to the one on the side of it like this. And you just keep going across the front of your loom. You're not going across the back at all. See that? You're just going neighbor, through, through. Just making the lines across the front. Oops, I almost messed up and went across the back. If you do that, you're gonna run out of yarn super fast, and it won't work right anyway. You have to do it this way for it to work correctly at the end. All right, so I had a little bit more yarn than I needed, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna trim that off. And guess what I'm gonna do right here? Another piece of tape. Tape this down. All right, get it on there good and tight so it doesn't pull out. And there you have it. See, this side just has these little loops right there, and this side has them all the way down the front. Okay, so this is our warp threads. And then the next thing you're gonna do is pick whatever color you want to start weaving with. To get started, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick this yarn under the warp yarn, and I'm gonna just tie it to, like, just tie a little knot so it doesn't slip out. See that? So you stick it through, make like a loop, bring this around, just stick it through there. So you just tied it to that. And that should be good. And there's different ways you can weave. You can just weave with your fingers, with your hands. You could weave with needle, like a weaving needle, but you really don't need the needle. Or another way I saw on YouTube was that you could tie a pencil to this. So I think I'm gonna try that and see how that works. Okay, friends, once you have one end tied to your loom and then you have your pencil on the other end, you're ready to weave. This is what we do. We have this tied to this string, so the next string we're going to go under with our pencil, under the string, then we're going to go over the next one, under, every other one we go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. So see that? You can see really well how you've done that. Every other one you've gone under the string. Then you pull it through. Don't pull it too tight because you want to leave this. Don't want to get it too tight. Okay, when you're back on this other side, you've gone all the way through, under, over, you're going to go back and you're going to do the same over this time. The one that you went under last time, you're going to go over. You do the opposite. Under this one, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. See that? Then you pull it, and that worked a lot better because it was taped on. Pull your string all the way through. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want this like to bend, like be pulling in, and push your, well, wherever you want your string. I'm gonna pull your string down a little bit. I don't want it right up next to the top. So pull it down just a tinge. Okay. Then you do the same. Since you went over this one, you're gonna go under it this time. Under, over, under. Coming back this way now. Pull it all the way through. Don't pull it too tight. And that's how you keep going. Okay, friends, see on this row, I can tell that I did this wrong because these two rows look exactly the same and they should look different every time. See how this is over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Well, apparently I did this one wrong, so I'm gonna have to pull it out and start that one over. Because if you see two that look exactly the same, they don't look different like these, then you know that you did that row wrong. You just have to start it with, do that row over. It's no big deal. Just take it back out. You can probably pull it. All right, and then I'm just gonna do it over and make sure I do it right this time. Okay, friends, when you get to about the end of your yarn, or you have a section as wide as you'd like it, you can see how nice and neat this looks, because it looks just like a basket. So you know that you've done it right when it looks like this. So the next thing we can do is add a new color. So tie the two pieces together and keep on weaving. Okay, friends, I've done as much purple as I want to do on here. This one I'm just going to tie the next color to it. So if I tied these together, you can go just like you're tying your shoelaces together, but you're tying the knot. This. Then around through. Stick that through the square knot, and then you can pull that tight. And then you have those two tied together. And then I would just trim these really short. And then you can just keep weaving with your next color after that.